walking through this old cemetery here in Mount Hope, West Virginia. Edward R. Turner, born July 30th, 1890, died 1913. Yeah, me and Brian Hayden just weeded and mowed and weeded all this yesterday. I'd like to point out something interesting. When you mow and weed eat stuff, well, what I'm trying to get at, this cemetery looks so small until you have to mow and weed eat it. Then it don't look small anymore. 1895, 1973. I don't think that might be that's probably the last year somebody was buried here. I seen one in the 1960s over that way somewhere, and that was 1973. But what I want to point out is the Browns families over here. It's the Blakes and the Browns. Martha A. Brown, 1835, 1919. 1827, 1910. The reason I point this out because it's the Blakes and the Browns are the two families that helped found the city of Mount Hope. So that's like a husband and wife couple that's one of the first families ever to come to Mount Hope. I think that's 1850s, something like that when they came here. I can't remember the exact year. But it's just an interesting fact to point out. Now, I would locate a Blake grave if it's even here, if the Blake's even buried here. There are any members of the Blake family, as I say. Robert Perry. I actually know some Perrys. I remember, well, different person, but I remember a Robert Perry that grew up here in Mount Hope that passed away, and I wonder if that's his dad. And the one I knew was Robert Perry Jr. Now it's got me wondering, because the Perry I'm thinking about, he passed away like 10 years ago. But I just thought I'd point this out. In the Western Cemetery, there's a lot of work when you have to mow and weed eat this. I also like to point that out. Something else I like to point out. When they put the road through here, they actually put it through over a few graves. Because there's one that's cut off there. And one over there. Well, no, that one I can't tell. Yeah, that one comes out this way too. Just thought that was interesting to point out. Main ways I point at the cemetery, the fact that it's found us from the city of Mount Hope was laid to rest here. I just thought that's interesting. Of course, if I end the video and point out one other interesting fact. Look, 65 million bees. Actually, I don't know how many dead bees are there. They've been there for, I don't know, almost as long as I've been living out my own. I think a few years after I moved out my own, I got windows suddenly full of dead bees, and they've been there ever since. I don't know how in the world they got in there, why they went in there. It makes no sense to me.